Ever thought your spouse was getting away with murder? Well, one Michigan woman actually tried to do so by hiring a hitman to get rid of her husband. And she isn't the first to take drastic measures that might make divorce look positively quaint. Luckily, law enforcement has foiled some outrageous plots. Here's ABC's John Donvan on marriage gone terribly wrong.
A car door opens. A woman gets inside. Pleasantries are exchanged.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so I guess we got a little business to discuss.
Yeah.
And then a murder is planned in one of the most staggering conversations you may ever happen to overhear. Because listen.
Well, why don't you go ahead and tell me what's up?
Well, not entirely sure. I've been I don't know, off the fence. I know I want it done. I'm just trying to figure out when I want it done.
It is her own husband she is talking about killing.
But you want it to look like a break-in? Somebody breaking in?
Well, we were talking about that too, and Carlos was like, oh, well, since I know him, I might be able to get him outside. I have a girlfriend who wants to move in with me, and I don't want her to be scared to move in with me. And if she thinks that we got broken into and then Jake got,
Yeah, that's why she wouldn't want to move in.
Yeah, so I'm kind of afraid of that because I want her to move in with me because I don't want to live there by myself afterwards.
And the guy she's talking to, that right hand there, that's whom she wants to hire to kill her husband. She talked to him twice, and he was full of questions.
That's him.
Does he look just like that then?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much?
Yep.
Okay.
Except now he's got a tattoo on his arm.
You said, something about a gunshot, so is that how you want me to do it? You want me to shoot him?
Unless you can do it painlessly, breaking his neck, that would...
Well, I would prefer to use either a knife or a gun. It's quick and easy.
Do a gun instead, it's painless, less painless.
Right. Where do you want me to shoot him? Do you want an open casket, a closed casket? What do you want?
I don't want an open casket.
And the stuff she's worried about, like the mess it might make.
I can do it any way you want me to, but I just want to know how you want it done.
Really, whatever's easiest. If you can get him outside, that would be great.
Okay.
But, if you absolutely can't, I'll understand,
So you want me to, I guess I'm not understanding you. So you don't want it done in the house then?
Because it would be messy in the house.
She didn't really need to worry because her husband is still alive. And Julia Murfeld, who wanted her husband dead, faces sentencing for her crime on July 30th. One mistake she made, talking to that guy in the car. He was an undercover police officer with the Muskegon County, Michigan Sheriff's Department. Another mistake, thinking she would get away with this. Amazingly, the number of people who tried to pay someone to kill off a relative is more than you can count on one hand. Nightline has covered several such cases in recent years, and in all of those, the plotter was caught in time. As former FBI agent and ABC consultant Brad Garrett told us, these people keep making the same mistakes.
What they do is they step to a friend or an associate or someone that they knew in their past, and what happens in a vast majority of the time, the person they step to goes to law enforcement.
Like Matthew Campbell, who is now serving time for trying to hire someone to kill his own mother, a plot she heard about from the police.
He asked to speak to me out in private, and he said, I hate to be the one to inform you of this, but we've been notified that there has been a contract put out on your life.
A contract out on your life? It just sounds, it sounds insane.
But Matthew had approached someone to do the job who went to the police instead. Or take, for example, the case of Dalia DiPoletto, who, like Julia Murfeld, was taped making a deal for her husband's murder with an apparent assassin who was actually a cop.
I'm positive, 5,000% Charlotte.
Okay.
She went so far as to put on a big grief performance when they told her, falsely of course, that the deed had been done.
Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, man, he's been killed. He's been killed, man. I'm sorry.
In DiPoletto's case, it was the typical miscalculation. She turned for help to someone who then went to the police. She is currently under house arrest on $500,000 bond as her lawyers appeal her conviction.
We're going to show them the film where you say you're 5,000% sure you want him dead.
It's the cold-bloodedness that comes across in these stories.
It surprised me with how you do it.
How, in Julia Murfeld's case, she nonchalantly discussed the details of offing someone who had been part of her life, whom she presumably loved once.
I was looking at my calendar, and I was thinking either the 18th of April or the 25th.
You wonder, how can it get from loving and marrying to wanting to kill? and planning to kill.
She has turned this over again and again in her mind so many times. She doesn't even see her husband as a real person anymore. At this point, he's just a mark.
But here is another twist on it. The case of Houston lawyer Jeffrey Stern, arrested for plotting the murder of his wife Yvonne. His mistress, Michelle Gazer, confessed to being in on it and is already serving time. But Yvonne, the intended victim, says she still loves her man and is blaming the whole mess on the mistress.
I forgive him for his indiscretions.
The charges against Stern were dropped, and the marriage lives on. And how did that happen?
The spouses have something called learned helplessness. The victimized spouses sometimes don't even want to break away. They feel guilty, brainwashed, they imagine it's their own fault, and sometimes they'll even go to the murderous spouse's defense to try to get leniency in sentencing.
Stern's former mistress, meanwhile, was plotting to have him murdered, according to Stern's attorney.
Michelle Gazer, from her jail cell, has plotted yet another murder. She has solicited an inmate to murder Jeffrey Stern for $20,000.
So these things do tend to get messy, which is just what Murfeld didn't want when she got in that car.
You don't want it done in the house, then?
Because it would be messy in the house.
And why not just divorce her husband? Well, there was insurance money to be had if he were dead, and then there were his feelings to consider.
When I first decided to do this, it's not that we weren't getting along, but it was easier than, as terrible as it sounds, it was easier than divorcing him. I didn't have to worry about the judgment of my family. I didn't have to worry about breaking his heart. Stuff like this is kind of like a clean getaway.
Breaking his heart? Yeah, sounds like that would have killed him. For Nightline, I'm John Donvan in West Tisbury, Massachusetts.